Hi guys, welcome back to another P3D version 5 video. We are today flying the Sunderland, or the short Sunderland, which was a British flying boat patrol bomber to be exact, courtesy of Wikipedia. Developed and constructed by the Short brothers, which I think made quite a few different aircraft. Let me see if there's any. For example, the Belfast, pretty big one of their later models. But the Shorts 330 and the 360 as well. So quite a few different ones. And this is the one that was made back in 1937, so before World War II started. And quite a bit of these were built, 749 to be exact, and was one of the most powerful and widely used flying boats throughout the Second World War. So yeah, quite a name for themselves they made during those different campaigns that they participated in. And they were mainly, it seems, involved in countering the threat of German U-boats, which makes sense, right? Since it's a flying boat. Anything else interesting about this one? A lot of them remained in service in the Far East. Some were used as for civilian. So for example, BOAC used it, but there was also Aerolíneas Argentinas, ANSET, Qantas. So yeah, quite a wide variety. Let me see, here's a picture of a real one actually. So in London, right? Not sure where or from when this picture is from, but yeah, from some point, I guess, in the 70s maybe. What else can we say about this bird? Now, but a very interesting history and a nice looking flying boat. This is the one by First Class Simulation, so an FSX payware aircraft. You can buy it at Simshack, I think, yeah. Around 20 USD, something around that, so not the most cheap, but not the most expensive one. So yeah, pretty decent price for an, I would say, average simulation. Kind of like good enough. After flying the B314 a bit, I felt like I needed to add some more or some variety into my different flying boats. I also started getting a lot of sceneries. That's why you see these weird buildings here. I need to find out which file is causing that. This is from another. I found a really good one. That was like the historical seaport. So you would add all these old air or old boats, etc. But the problem was, of course, that those didn't really match with the rest. So now we have these buildings kind of floating in the air. Very, I guess, time accurate, right? But don't really mesh with the rest. It was the same with the boats, right? I mean, Titanic, etc., all looking good, but, well, I guess not Titanic, but similar types of boat, ocean liners. They do look pretty, but don't really mesh with the modern cruise ships, and same with the cargo. But we are here at Southampton. Now I'm just using a very basic add-on to just kind of add this little wharf, Yeti bridge thingy, mabob. We're just gonna do a very short flight from Southampton to Cardiff. I have no historical evidence that they ever flew to Cardiff. No evidence either that they had any sort of sea base here. Most of the flights are, going somewhere longer with these aircraft. For example, landing in Marseille and then going further east, maybe stopping in Alexandria, etc., Dubai, and then coming down all the way to Australia. There's actually a very nice, let me just move that one to somewhere else so I can check, because I need it for the NDBs. But there's a nice flag route, so I found this by googling. So it's a kind of summary of the pool flying boats, not specifically the short Sunderland, but it's included, and it kind of shows the the different routes that were used. So for example, flying from Poole to France, so I guess Marseille, maybe Rome, Brindisi, and then to Athens, Egypt, Palestine even. That could be the one in, I guess, today's Israel, I think, the Tiberias, Galilee Sea or something like that. Iraq, Basra maybe, and then going all the way down, right, to Australia. So quite a few different routes here that you can kind of play around with some interesting history. Just a 7-page long document, but yeah, still cool to see. Yeah, here we can see, for example, day 1, Hythe, Poole, Marseille, Rome, Brindisi, Athens. Day 2, Athens, Alexandria, Cairo. I mean, imagine flying this. Mozambique all the way down to Durban. But still, yeah, very cool kind of information. And just kind of shows how lucky we are in today's world. Going kind of straight, or having kind of straight flights, not having to stop in between. We won't, of course, as I said, do any sort of that length of a flight. I'm hoping in the future to maybe do some island hopping around Hawaii, etc. midway, but saw some good YouTube videos on that from FSX, but unfortunately those take a long time, so it's hard to find time. So we'll do Cardiff. It will be overland, which I guess is not optimal, but it will be good enough, and we'll be following the ADF, the NDBs. In terms of this aircraft, I've added PBR. I didn't do any sort of mega work with that. I just added a color and added the PBR settings, I think with metal, so it might look a bit too glossy. I think it's like ambient or something like occlusion. If you add that, you can make it a bit less glossy, which is what I did actually on the interior. So if we jump to the this button. So if we jump to the interior, you'll notice that it looks a bit shiny in certain places. The default one looked kind of boring. This one is a bit too shiny, to be honest. So even with the occlusion, it's not perfect, but it does at least look like a more modern add-on, even if it looks too shiny. So I wouldn't recommend it. I just wanted to try it with this one because it looked really boring. Some of these places didn't seem metallic at all. And I mean, in certain places like the wheel, it does look a bit better. And then of course, let's say the chair, it's not the best looking with the PBR. So something to take into account if you're adding PBR. In terms of the aircraft, otherwise it's you know, things are working. Mixture controls, throttle controls, propellers. You even have the magnetos. There's basically no kind of depth into that if we compare to the B314, which is a great aircraft. They do have an autopilot, but basically just like turning it on. So I'm using my hardware autopilot, and then it kind of works. You can fly up and down and follow headings, but it's not sure how it's been implemented into this one in any other way. I guess it's meant so you can have some sort of autopilot, like the default one controlling this. Up here we have the fuel control switch, and yeah, anything else that's needed to be mentioned? I don't think so. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of non-movable controls. So a bit of a bummer, but not the end of the world. We do have the engineering position quite far back. Basically the only thing you can do here, you have of course the cowl flaps lever. So I think, not sure how this looks. Yeah, here you can see that they are open. So that's at least emulated. And then let's see the fuel cross feed. See, there's some settings. One cool one, or cool and cool, but here's the master switch. The problem is that it starts the battery but doesn't really start it, so, or I guess it doesn't like connect to the generator, so I have a button for that I press, and then I get kind of the actual generator kick-started, or at least I get power from the battery. You can see we're kind of at half. Not sure it works in any fancy way with the fuel. I think it just kind of draws it down. So no need to consider anything there. In terms of these, can be controlled by hardware. I just put some random. The ADF is the interesting one. We have the indent, so we can hear the Morse code. Navs and comms, if we would use that. We're not going to use that on this flight, but good to know. And yeah, flaps. And then I guess normal kind of analog gauges, knots, altitude. Can't seem to switch the barometric one. I don't think it really matters, but specifically since we're landing on water. But I guess yeah, it is of course good to have. Lights. Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, that's the autopilot. We want to keep that off, so you can put it on here as well. But really no other buttons, so it's a bit weird. And what else? What else? Are there anything up here? Rudder and trim. Yeah, elevator trim. You can see it move here. Or at least I thought it. Maybe we can see it here. Yeah, here we can change the trim position a bit. But yeah, that's basically it. In terms of our route, I'm gonna check little nav map. We're first flying to the NDB of YVL. What's that like? Yankee, Victor, Lima, 343. So we can put that in as the first step. 343. That's 48 nautical miles away, and the range is only 15. So we need to be more cautious about kind of what heading, and we're supposed to be going in a heading of 273. That's assuming we get exactly from where we're at now, which might be a bit difficult, but we know we're going inlands, quite close to Bournemouth, but a bit north of it. And in order to start things, it's actually very simple. So this is why I say that it's not really fully simulated, but it's a, you know, pretty decent if you're considering how old the paper is, probably like 12-13 years. So that's how you start the engines. Technically you should give a bit of throttle as well, open that up. Doesn't seem to make a difference though. As you can see, you don't really want to start it like that, because then the aircraft will start moving in the opposite direction. So basically, no anchoring function, and you only control it in water with the differential thrust, right? So something to be aware of. But yeah, let's let's get going actually. I'm not gonna keep you longer. Here is where we can see the ADF, of course, assuming we'll get it. Okay, so first things first, we don't want to keep flaps on out, we want to keep it in the middle. I think that's sufficient. I kind of like this one, it's very kind of compact as an aircraft. Let's try to remember to use the cold flaps. The problem is when you have an aircraft that doesn't really simulate anything, you don't really care as much as you would want to. Let's say we want to go though to the left now, since we're kind of going out here from the port. Now I'm just increasing the right throttles, and that makes us move to the left. And then let's say when I move to the right, we'll use the left ones. So yeah, that's the differential. So if you're using FSU IPC, you can just assign them specifically for this aircraft. So engine or throttle 1 controls engine 1 and 2, and throttle 2 controls engine 3 and 4. Okay, let's try to turn a bit more. And technically, I guess we don't want to be in the red here. You can push it quite hard though, so it's a bit unclear. Do you want to be above it or below it? There really isn't any manual or of sorts that's available, but but I guess you can find that information online usually if some people have that. And yeah, as you can see, it's a speedy bird. So now when we push back, we'll be taking off relatively quickly. So yeah, maybe not the best flight model, but okay-ish. It does feel sluggish in the air, so not very different from the 314 to be truthful. We can... The flaps are a bit difficult sometimes to get right, but there we go. Now they're in. And we are turning, we wanna be flying at 273 flight path. But yeah, looking good generally. And nice in the way that it's kind of a more simple thing to fly. So if we want to have the autopilot, what I usually do is I put it on here, then I go to heading, try to put the heading on somewhat similar. I can't see it on the plane itself, right, because there is no advanced autopilot in that regard. Well, let's say I put it on 2.4, I put heading on, now it's controlled by the autopilot. I can do the same with altitude. And we want to change, we are climbing a bit. Let's do 500 feet per minute. And let's turn a bit more to the right. And we're basically now just waiting for the ADF to be picked up. What we can do is put the identifier on, so once we pick it up we'll know, and we don't have to follow the needle. But yeah, now you can see we're climbing, getting down to 500, climbing really fast. We're not that heavy of course, but still that's quick. But yeah, the light thingy, I am not 100% certain. I was pretty certain that there are lights that you can put on. The question is just where they are located. Usually those kind of things are nice to have and can be considered essential, but yeah, I'm more interested in getting to see kind of the fidelity and how it would work with engine starts, etc. Let me see here, what do we have down here? Nothing interesting, unfortunately. We can turn a bit more to the right. As you can see, it's flying pretty nicely. It's a good looking livery, this one. Let's have a look here if we have anything related to the lights. No, we just seem to have the master switch. We have the prop DIs. And then we have the gauges, so they show some information at least, which is good. Let's say we wanna open them a bit less. You don't need them to be as open once you are climbing. We can notice that the cowl flaps have closed a bit, so that's still pretty cool that that's at least simulated. I don't think it has any practical differences though, so that's something to keep in mind. In terms of the navigation station, there really isn't anything here that's that interesting apart from the radios, so something to keep in mind. Okay, and we'll continue. I am turning a bit towards 270 now. think we might have turned a bit too much, but we'll know soon enough. This is an unpressurized aircraft, so we will not be getting any pressurization. So we can't fly higher than 10,000 maximum. Let me see anything else. Here you can see now these have moved the trim indicators. Here you have the flap switch, the magnetos. Let me see, this one is the feather for the propellers, mixture control, prop control. Interesting though, with no coal flaps here. Let's check here, what do we have? Sometimes they could be hidden, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be any hidden switches in this case. Nothing here. I'm gonna turn a bit more. We're quite close still to the water, but it could be closer. We'll notice once we get the beacon, or we pick up the beacon signal. We'll kind of know how off we are. The next turn is up to 356. So let's see once we're flying over the beacon. We know it's gonna be right on top of a city, so that's good. Preston, is it Preston? Let me see. Yeovil Westland Aerodrome. Yeah, Yeovil is the city. And then we're going up to I think it's the Bristol airport actually. Okay, we're in the clouds, still climbing. We are soon at 6,000 feet. We might not have to go that much higher actually. Some interesting weather. Cumulus clouds mainly, some variety. But generally looking good. Pretty nice views as well. Wondering if we should take a nice picture maybe. Now we can keep as is. Or tour does look pretty good. Yeah, let's do a picture from up here. Pretty nice. Okay, let's jump back in, check if we're picking up anything. Still nothing. Gonna turn a bit more to the left. It's gonna help us with our turn anyway. It's better to come in with a wider angle so we don't have to turn as much, rather than to come in with a steeper one because we went too far inland. Have we picked up anything? Nothing yet. We would hear it beeping if we did. We are still climbing. We're above 6,000. Let's see how much. So 67. Let's say we decrease the mixture. Can we see any effect of that? Nothing. The prop. nothing really. Or look at that, the RPM where, so let's say we decrease the props a bit. And then we push. We are going quicker now according to our nav map. Bit of cheating watching it, to be honest. As it works like as a moving map. But I kind of like to see the information, or mainly using it to know the ADF info. Okay, but seemingly looking pretty nice. I think we can close the coal flaps completely. I will also stop climbing. I think we can keep as is, no point going too much higher. So we'll just put the vertical to 0 to maintain. Yeah, we're flying fast. I mean, it was one of the more powerful aircrafts, right? At least in terms of flying boats. Really beautiful engines. So not super surprised that it has a lot of power. Still haven't gotten anything. I'm gonna turn a bit further left. We can't really see anything. It's a bit of a overcast. We'll continue for now. We are still about, let me check, I'm gonna measure our distance. We're still a bit outside of the range. After this we're going 356 and up to the Bristol VR 414. And that one has a longer range of 25 nautical miles, so that's good. Okay, let's see. Still nothing. There is a risk. Oh, let me just check though that I have there we go. Okay. So we can move further south. You can hear the EDF. The problem was that the decimal had been put in on the ADF, so that was my mistake actually. I'll remove that identifying a button. Okay. So we'll see this course changing. It should be moving. Let me actually see. It should be moving towards 27. So I'm gonna start turning a bit to the right with the help of our autopilot. Since it's 15 nautical miles, it's not gonna be long until we should switch to the next one. We do though want to make sure that we are kind of tracking the 273 as intended. So if I'm not mistaken, so we're soon at 24, there's going to be 25, 26, 27. So we have quite some time to Gotta turn a bit more to the left actually, even though I just tried to turn more to the right. Okay, let's see, it's over 20. We don't want to do a tight turn if we can avoid it. If you want to do some like real ops, I guess, you know, use the military version of this aircraft and do patrols or similar. That could be fun. Okay, we are gonna turn towards the green line now. We're anyway gonna be very close to flying over it. And we need to be prepped to change to the 414, the Bristol one, and then around 0 in terms of heading. The question is how the weather will look. We can hope for the best, but we might not be able to see the water. I know after Bristol it's about 23 nautical miles to the VR at Cardiff, so we should be around halfway, a bit less than that when we are, or when we should see the water and find a place to land. I guess technically we would want to land closer to Cardiff Bay, but I guess Jackson's Bay is pretty fine as well. We'll just land somewhere close to what looks like a bay area. Okay, now you can see that this has moved. So we're gonna change to a 356. And what I'll do is I'll change the ADF to 414. We're not gonna pick it up immediately, I think. Ah, we kind of picked it up immediately, okay. That's not too bad. Let's see, we're still turning. We can actually descend a bit. So I'm gonna start descending. We wanna be at around 2,500, I think should be good. Yeah, 2,500 feet. Let's aim for something along those lines. Let's check the heading. We're turning a bit too much potentially. Okay, let's see, 3-3. I mean, ultimately we'll end up at the right place where we want to be. Seems like there's a bit of a drift thing going on though. Or there's some mismatch between the little nav map and the course we are intending to fly. Okay, still flying. Yeah, feels like we need to turn more left. And it's interesting though how it's saying it should be a 355 course north, but we're flying 3424 and it's kind of giving us the exact same plotline. So either I'm missing something or yeah, could be that I'm missing something. Okay, we are descending, going soon below 6,000 feet. Are there really no lights? It feels so odd. I would be certain that there would be some lights. We can press L though, and that does seem to turn off or turn on some lights. The question is, yeah, it seems to be an interior light. Nothing on the exterior though. I am though gonna quickly check if we had anything in the plane folder that could help us understand. No, nothing really actually. Here we have some of the history of the aircraft. No, but nothing. We have a manual as well, which just explains very shortly. I mean, we're talking 7 pages of manual. There's a tutorial flight as well, so that's pretty cool. No input on. It's also 7 pages, right? You can see very basic. Nothing about lights or anything. Just flaps set for landing. 90 knots. Let's see if it says anything about the takeoff. 100 knots for the takeoff speed. Yeah, okay. You should aim to keep your airspeed around 200 knots. And we are, well, kinda around there. Once we're above the airport, we should though be turning left. They actually have some missions though, so that's pretty cool. So I guess I'm not sure if you can load MP3 even, maybe. The next one is 388.5, and that should be on an outbound course of 272 from the Bristol VR. And can we see the airport here? I don't have any payware for the Bristol one. That's a bit of a bummer. Could it be it must be here close, because we can already see the water. I'm gonna throttle down a bit. I'm also gonna put these props back to full, preparing for the inevitable landing. Okay. Let's see, nothing yet, and we want to turn to 272 3885. There we have the airport, so that's good. So we can actually start turning here, thinking ahead. 272. Oh, now we're in the clouds again, but at least we have some awareness. We should probably turn more, 240 maybe. Just based on the discrepancy we've noticed from earlier. The ADF, we can change that to 3885. Yeah, we picked it up, so that's good. Now I am wondering what the... No, not GSX, and not that either. Let me see, I'm gonna close. I managed to open the Hi-Fi weather radar. Broken at 2,252 feet. Okay, that's good to know. We'll continue to slow down. Maybe we can send a tad bit quicker. We can turn a bit to the right. The question is the weather gonna get better or not? We'll know soon enough. Not sure why ground crew is some bug with that. Not sure why it's yeah, that's fine. I don't need it to display the... Okay, let's see. We don't want to descend too quickly anymore. We can soon take manual control. So halfway was when we were above the sea, so we still have some time. There's some islands that we need to be a bit cautious about. We're below 2,000 feet. Yeah, look at that. If this had been really IFR conditions, this would have been risky. That's quite a hill actually. It's let me check if they have it marked. No, nothing. Maybe it wasn't that, but it does rise up a bit. Nothing on the map though. They have the Dean Brown though, that's around 98 meters, so I'm gonna assume this one is around 100 or something. Okay, and Cardiff is gonna be there. The airport, or the normal airport, is gonna be kind of straight ahead. And we wanna land. Now let me think about it. We don't wanna land at this first one. We wanna go a bit further. We wanna land here somewhere. So we can fly over the next island, and then after that, yeah. Okay, we're really coming down. I'm gonna stop our descent a bit further. We're going very fast. But it's looking good. This will be a good short flight. But yeah, the screen thing has been very annoying. Well, not sure what it's what's triggering it though. I guess we could close it. Oh no, we can't open the menu. That's annoying. But okay, we'll just have to live with this green bar on top for now. Not the end of the world, luckily. Okay, let's see. Coming down. You can see the water. It looks pretty calm. So that's good. I've heard though you should like tweak A to A because otherwise the water might not show up correctly. I'm not sure if I've done that, so I'll need to have a look at that at some point. But it does look pretty good, I would say. Okay, and we are now... We can now actually start really slowing down. Maybe not too much. Some of these older birds. There is a risk, I guess, that the engine is shut down. Okay, I'll go a bit on flaps. The question here, speed must obviously 197 knots. Okay, I think this is okay for the flap setting. Let's just force it a bit. It's a bit high, I think, to be honest, but... this should be fine. Okay. So we'll be landing here, hopefully, somewhere. I'm gonna trim it down a bit. I wanna descend a bit more. Okay, not too much. Now we're descending way too much. See if I can trim it a bit better. Yeah, this is looking okay. Sorry, engines. Interesting, 4 and 4. Is that minus? Is that reversers? I don't think so. Maybe that's just how the gauge looked. Okay, but this should be good. Let's get down. The water looks fine enough. we have full flaps. And I think we're a bit fast though. So let's try to ease off a bit. Oh, look at that. The water isn't as calm as I thought. But it's okay. Let's see if we can. Okay, I'm gonna kill the engines almost completely to get this bird to slow down. Let's see if we can get a nice landing here. The water is maybe not as calm as I would want. Yeah, we're gonna touch it. There we go. So we landed a bit off where we wanted to. I think the harbor is here actually. But okay. Well, yeah, look at those waves. This must not be too nice for the passengers. But okay, so it does work, the waves with A2A. That's cool. Because this is definitely more waves than we had with the B314 when we came in for landing the last time in Port Washington. Okay, let's be a bit careful. It works pretty well to do the differential thrust, but when you add both thrusts, it quickly starts to pick up speed, which we don't want it to do. And yeah, we wanna get into the protection there of the natural harbor. And actually, I don't think we could even make it in here, so I guess this is the closest thing we have to some sort of harbor, but I would assume that they would be very... or I don't know how deep it would be, right? That's the other question. Let's see if we can get those flaps away. And yeah, immediately when I removed the flaps, the speed just picked up like crazy. So yeah, it's not the easiest plane to navigate on the water, but still a fun one. So we're just gonna go into this little bay and wrap it up. Oh, look at that calm water! Ain't that jolly? Now we can really slow down. But yeah, this was just a flight to kind of showcase this aircraft, specifically if you're a fan of the flying boats and the... Let me see, the flaps are still not... now they're coming in. Yeah, and specifically if you're a fan of the short Sunderland or flying boats in general. I think there's a version available for Microsoft Flight Sim as well, which looks kind of similar in terms of its simulation level. But yeah, not much else to say. We have, I guess, somewhat made it. I think in order, if you want to close the or shut down the engines, what I usually do is just choke them with the fuel control levers like that, and then it works kind of nicely. But yeah, in terms of bugs, this is the only thing I've had, but that just seems to be an ultimate ground crew thing, probably tied to one of the buttons that makes it kind of come alive. Technically, I guess what I could have done is moved it like that. Much less of a hassle now. Oh no, it moved back to the upper left corner, that's fine. Let's have a look quickly at the instant replay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks like most things are showcasing in the sim. We're coming in a bit fast. Very lovely, the countryside here, or the, what would you say, the Cardiff seaside. Looks pretty nice. I remember when we visited Cardiff back in 2019. It was a very cool approach with the aircraft. And was relatively quick as well to get in from the airport to the city. Yeah, look at that. Where are the effects? There we go. Yeah, not hearing any splashing effects. Not even from the inside, but I guess that's just a limitation of the replay engine. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to quickly show you the shorts Sunderland. I have some other aircrafts I want to show as well. The CR1 software for tri-motor. There's also a flying boat version, and then some other freeware ones. Some which I've had a bit of trouble getting to work, but hopefully I can fix that soon enough. If you have any questions or comments or I don't know, suggestions on where to find nice seaports or nice scenery for that, do feel free to leave it down below. Otherwise I recommend Sim Aviation, have Sim Library, flightsim.com. Those have a lot of those kind of things. But yeah, nothing else I would say for now. So until next time, thank you for watching and bye bye.